how do we keep the show aspirational and fluffy and sparkly and embrace the comedy, but also remember to keep our feet on the ground and our eyes on the prize of like, what is the true heart of this show? And it's really about finding love.
It's a pleasure to speak with both of you.
Yeah.
So the first question is for Stephanie. You mentioned in an interview watching a rom-com every week during filming. How did immersing yourself in those movies influence your approach to playing Ruby in this very different kind of love story?
Well, I think the very, foundation of Ruby is that she just so deeply wants to be the center of a rom-com. And ultimately, she has to believe that even through all the crazy stuff that starts to happen, she has to believe that love is real. And I think sometimes, ultimately this is a comedy and like it does have dark turns and it could have really got pulled too far in one direction. And honestly, I just wanted to stay in the genre to remember that that was like one of the key tenets of our show. Because there is something like fluffy and a little like sparkly about it. Yeah.
And for Zasha, what was it like playing the more grounded character in a story that can get increasingly outlandish with the premise?
Oh my God. I love that you think she's not outlandish. Um, I mean, I think that all the characters in our show are grounded in their own way. We've been talking a lot today about how that was a really important, that was something we really tried to keep at the forefront while we were making the show, because I think the circumstances are so zany, but at the end of the day, all of these characters are really on the same journey, which is to find love and acceptance, which I think is really all anybody actually wants as like their most base desire in the world. And so I think, yeah, every day was really it was a journey to try and find that balance of like, to Steph's point, how do we keep the show aspirational and fluffy and sparkly and embrace the comedy, but also remember to keep our feet on the ground and our eyes on the prize of like, what is the true heart of this show? And it's really about finding love.
And for both of you, the show seems to comment on modern dating culture through its premise. Are there any aspects of that that resonated with you personally?
I mean, I keep saying this, but one of my favorite things that someone has said to me is, I know that you guys are saying that your show is a twisted rom-com, but it honestly feels like that's just what modern dating is like. And I was like, this show is for you. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really scary out there. I think it is a really crazy landscape. I think the different ways that people can connect and the ways that they can put a very specific manifested version of themselves out into the world that maybe is entirely counter to who they actually are. I think how we connect, how we aren't able to connect, it just is, the world is really crazy. And I think dating is really insane. And yeah, I mean, to her point, the show is outlandish, but at the same time, also maybe not.
Well, that's all for me, but thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking with both of you. Thank you.
Thank you
So much.